Stablecoins are being talked about everywhere on Google Trends, and a lot of people are looking them up to learn more. I want to stress that stablecoins will only become more popular as laws are passed, politicians talk about them more, and big banks make even more moves. That's why this is important, but what it really means is that our banking system is changing, and blockchain is the key to it all. Let's look at what happened with stablecoins. In June, I'll only say a few things. There was a big one that made it clear that almost every business and big player is in early talks with crypto companies to see how they can work with safe coins. Apple, Airbnb, and even Google are all involved. We'll look into stablecoins. We already know that Walmart and Amazon are also interested in them. We already know that Visa and MasterCard are going to look into stablecoins. So I'm just waiting for them to say so. It makes a lot of sense that things will keep getting worse. The OHA Bank is also interested in stablecoins and tokenized accounts. It may even make its own token or join an industry effort. We now know that a few other big banks were part of that effort, but no city worked on the deal with Bank of America. I think Wells Fargo and JP Morgan are also looking into tokenizing accounts. The name of the bank might not be Wells Fargo, but I do know that big banks are looking into it. We also know that JP Morgan just announced JPMD deposit token that is also a stablecoin plus. That's right on the mark. This is interesting because it makes me remember what I said. It all began in August 2023, 2 years ago. How do I picture what's going to happen? This money will be CBDCs, and every big country will have its own. Every bank will turn its cash into a token. They might even have their own coin. What do you think we have now, Jason? At some point, everything important will be turned into a digital coin. The most important thing about the global banking system is that it keeps us from having one group control all the money. We shouldn't have a reserve currency like the US dollar for a good reason. Instead, we would need a decentralized bridge currency, even though we wouldn't need a reserve currency. This is what makes CBDCs interesting. Many people think that this bridge coin will be XRP or even XLM, thanks to many papers of DLNs, distributed ledger networks, will soon rule the world. Doesn't matter if it's XRP, XLM. The world is changing, and everyone needs to know that blockchain and DT are key to those changes. The most important thing is to become a utility giant in this space and be patient to see your idea come true. Also, pay attention to what's going on. It's happening. CBDCs are the same thing as stablecoins. They can be programmed, are on the blockchain, and can be tracked and traced. I've talked about this more than once. One interesting thing about CBDCs is that they could be just a digital dollar or a euro in digital form. Are CBDCs going to show up now that central banks are talking about them? They will definitely talk about their own tokens. After that, we'll have safe coins to use, which we already have. For example, Rod, the crazy thing about the big banks is that each will have its own funds, which will be represented by a token. Use this to make a payment. It's the payment token, JFK.new. JFK.new. What JP Morgan does right is also something we think about. JP Morgan should be watched because they pretty much set the standard for the other big banks. That's why it's so interesting that Deutsche Bank is also doing this at the same time. The State of Stablecoins 2025 study by Fireblocks is very interesting. It shows that 49% of institutions around the world use stablecoins for payments, and another 41% are either trying them out or planning to use them. This is where real work is being done that will help finance in the future. All of these big organizations and most of these big banks are ready for stablecoins. They want to use stablecoins and have been begging the SEC to pass something so they can start accepting crypto payments. Of America has shown us that this is true and that the big change is on the way. It's no longer just a guess. It's happening. We saw it years ago, all the way back in May 2021, near the end of the month. According to Scott Bessent, stable coins could make people want to buy $2 trillion, 0 cents worth of US treasuries. Digital goods are very important to us. But this is what Bison said. Look at this, what might happen to the value of the dollar if we really tried to make a stable coin in this country, because we might need to hold dollars or even treasuries to match them. The Trump administration has put a lot of emphasis on digital goods, digital things. In the past, bad government policies forced many of these companies to go overseas. So we want to make sure that digital assets, especially stable coins, are subject to the strictest U.S. legal and anti-money laundering rules. It has been said that stablecoins could make people want to buy U.S. treasuries and treasury bills for $2 trillion, 0 cents in the short term. To give you some background, it's probably around $300 billion, 0 cents right now. So listen up. Safe coins are the most important thing for this admin who is in charge of those digital assets right now. We need to support this. It's important for the U.S. to join forces with almost every other country having the same goals as the UK and the UAE. China is now talking about this in public, which is what we'll do next. Also, you should know that Scott Bessent recently said that crypto is not a threat to the dollar and that stablecoins can make the dollar even stronger. Their leaders haven't cared about them for too long. To really build on this, this is exactly what Scott Bessent said, and he also said it on a talk show. It is one of the most important things in the world right now because national governments haven't paid enough attention to assets for too long. The goal of this government is to make the US a center for digital asset innovation. The SMART Act gets us one step closer to our goal. A person who has written about the US Treasury for about 40 years has written a new book called King Dollar. Yes. In it, he talks about how every time there was a story that the US would stop being a reserve currency, it never happened because crypto seems like it could hurt the dollar, doesn't it? I think it's the other way around. I think that safe coins could make the dollar stronger because they could become one of the biggest buyers of US treasuries or T-bills. Now, if you use a safe coin in Nigeria that is backed by the US dollar, you don't need dollars at all. You can find it on your phone and do business. I think there is a good chance that cryptocurrency is one of the things that keeps. That's why it was so important for Donald Trump to get involved in crypto instead of trying to limit it like Joe Biden did. I think that limits, which is too mild a word, will wipe it out.